WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I'm going to fall on the sword here. I'm usually wearing sponsor shirts and stuff like that, and Leonard Raskin's been nice enough to give me various shades of blue that I can wear. But all I have for the show this week are the Raskin Global investments. I don't even know if we could see the investments, but I like the investments. They're keeping my breath fresh. I spent some time with him on Friday. We were over at Pappas for the Maryland Crab Cake Tour presented by the Maryland Lottery. We're letting ourselves play, which is why I'm letting my hair down because the casinos are open now. We can go sports wager this weekend. Leonard, how are you, man? I must say, it had been a while since I had a Pappas crab cake. I know you're very, very fond of the Pappas crab cake, as is Mike Bordick and many other people. Jimmy, traffic jam guy, he loves the Pappas crab cake. Very, very good. I mean, delicious crab cake. Delicious crab cake.
Absolutely.
So hats off to you, my friend.
Absolutely. Doing great. It was good to see you out there. It was good to see Justin and hanging out. Jimmy Reese and the boys. That was a good time.
That's your hang. Pappas is your place, man.
That's my hang. It's my place for crab cakes. It's the best. It's big. It's big meat. It's delicious. The sides are fantastic. The service is great. Can't beat it.
I love the area we sat in, the little Breckenridge kind of room. I call it the Breckenridge wine room. I like it. It's nice.
Wine room with the big TVs for sports. What's better than that?
They class me all up around here so I can hang out with guys like you, you know?
That's right. We got to bring you up. You could take the boy out of Dundalk, but what do they say?
Dude, you had a tough time because, I mean, you were licking your wounds last Friday at Pappas, and we got together, and I talked to Mike Bordick, and I had you, and John Kelly was talking about cycling, and our mutual pal Jim Rees as well. A lot of people coming out, and you were like, man, the Ohio State-Michigan thing, it's terrible. You know, the Harbaugh's got us and all that. And then Sunday happens, and we lose to the Steelers. We were in first place, then we're not. This has been – the injury to Humphrey really is – the latest in downers, right?
Oh my goodness! You know, I look. I don't get paid to coach, or at least, I mean, not to coach football. I coach clients all the time, but I don't get paid to coach football. But I was sitting here in my family room watching that game, just thinking to myself, what are they doing? Now I understand. I recognize if that play works, we win the game. Everybody calls Harbaugh a hero. I get it, but man, I kick that kick 99 times out of 100. I don't care if Humphrey's down or not. You win the toss, you win in overtime. You know, the way they were playing right there, the offense was good. So be it. Great, win. If you lose in overtime, you lose in overtime. All right, so be it. But I'm not losing on a 2-point play. I'm just not doing it. Look, I like his risk. I like his calculation. He's all about it. And he stood up there and said, I got no cornerbacks. I'm going for it. I'm going to win. I don't buy it. I think he had to say something because he knew he blew it.
At the moment when it's happening and you're like, why is he doing this, right? And
right.
I kicked the kick, and I would say that in real time. You got the best kicker in the history of the game.
That's right.
You extend the game. That's, live a day, as they would say. His explanation on the cornerbacks was, I thought we would lose in overtime. Now, that's an insight that the coach would have, and he's willing to put his nuts on the line, right? And it's his team. He literally decided, I have a better than 50-50 chance of with Lamar Jackson, who and listen, right. Luke and I went through this Monday morning very bleary-eyed for him because he went up to the game. I abstained because I hurt my hip on Saturday running around after I was with you. Driving, not good on the hip. Pumping the brake in traffic, really not good on the back. So it's amazing at 53 how things break down. But I would just say for them in the moment, I'm the sports radio guy, and my question isn't, and this is probably why you sponsor me, you're my friend. I'm not the guy, Harbaugh's an idiot. What does he do? No, it's, you know what? It's after the game, I'm going to ask him why, and then I'm going to evaluate whether he's lying to me or not, right? So you said he made something up. John Harbaugh's lied to me plenty. John Harbaugh gets paid to lie to people like me professionally. I don't think he was lying. I think it was.
No. I don't think he made it up at all. I just think you can throw somebody out there. Next man up. They always say next man up. Okay, you don't have Humphrey. Who you got?
But he assessed the odds the way you're assessing the odds of a Coke stock, right?
Absolutely, of course. And so he made that call. And I saw the analytics after. It said something like there was a 49.4% chance that you win the game there. Okay,
But
so
that's not without
descriptive.
Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson at 2 yards creates a wrinkle, certainly a responsibility at the goal
Look,
line.
it was a great call. It was a great play, ultimately, and T.J. Watt got in the way. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He made the play. Okay, so they made the play, and we lost. So it's just another game that we should have won that we lost. But let's face it, as is always the case, that is not why we lost. We lost because our defense in the fourth quarter was Swiss cheese. and because guys were 20 yards wide open for Ben to throw to that even Ben at this point could throw to. And we lost because Lamar tried to be a superhero again and threw an interception, got sacked 6 times.
7.
We didn't lose 7 times. Sorry, we didn't lose because of that play. We lost because we played a terrible game. And that was just the culmination of a terrible game that it was going to be another terrible game played with a win. And so it might be better that we lost because the disguise, man, somebody's got to rip this mask off and say the disguise is gone. The emperor has no clothes.
But that doesn't mean they can't win on any given Sunday. I mean, the Dolphins win. The Bengals lose.
I remember, you remember, 5 games with Trent Dilfer without a touchdown and a Super Bowl win. So things happen. And we've won our share. Justin Tucker banging a 66-yarder off the crossbar. We've won our share that we should not have won this year. This one just went the other way. Okay, so be it. So my son's Buckeyes are not in the playoff, although, happy consolation is they get to go to the Rose Bowl, which ain't a bad gig.
All right. You know what? There are many, many things in life that I have done. I have never seen an event in the Rose Bowl. I was there in 2000 and maybe one. No, it was maybe 99. It was 99. I was there on New Year's Day, and it was the Ryan Leaf, Brian Greasy game. Okay?
There you go.
So that was the Rose Bowl. Washington State.
What happened to those 2 guys?
Well, the one guy's on TV pretty good. And Ryan Leaf's been on the show many, many times. If you really want to see some great radio that I've done in my career, I'd tell you, go watch our Ryan Leaf conversation because he stops by at the Super Bowl every year. He's a fascinating cat. But I was out at the Rose Bowl that day, and you could not get a ticket, right? Like it was, and I wasn't going to pay $500 for a game I didn't care about.
Right.
But
Sure.
I did have a guy offer to sneak me in the back door for $250, in the service entrance. But I never made it in. I did walk up into the bowl in 1985 with my parents, and I have a picture of me as a young lad at the Rose Bowl many, many, many years ago, but I never saw an event there. So to me, any event at the Rose Bowl would be special if I ever got a chance to do that.
Gen 1, Ohio State, and Utah. They're playing the Utes. And the good news is both teams still have their head coach. Man, college football, that carousel is moving fast.
How about the basketball carousel? You came out for a crab cake on Friday and Turgeon was the coach. You left, he wasn't anymore. How about that?
There you go. And Danny Manning came in their first game with him as head coach. They lost to Northwestern. They lost to Northwestern.
It's going to be a rocky, bumpy thing at College Park. Leonard Raskin is here. He is Raskin Global. He has investments as well. He joined us at Pappas last week, so if you hear him gabbing here on the radio this week, obviously we're talking about risk aversion and taking risks and John Harbaugh taking risks and all that. For you with the rest of the year for the Ravens, have you reset your expectations?
No, I still think they got a shot at going. What they got? 5 left? 5 left? They got to go 3-2 out of the 5. They got to take 3 of the 5. They should. I don't care if the Browns are coming off a bye and just played us or not. We should beat the Browns again. The Bengals are playing good football. Wow, they look good. Jamar Chase is catching everything in sight. They're looking pretty good. The Rams, I think the Rams are beatable. I'm not a Matthew Stafford fan. Wasn't a fan when he was with the Lions. Not a fan now that he's with the Rams. I think he's dreadful. Green Bay, you catch them on any given day. They could be good. They could be great. They could be average. And Pittsburgh is shortly beatable. We should have beat them once, and we should beat them again.
So you have a state of confidence about this. See, this is good. I bring you on,
I think you take Cleveland, you take the Rams, and you take Pittsburgh. And if you lose to Cincinnati and Green Bay, okay, so be. I think you got to go 3-2. You got to go 3-2. And who the heck are these New England Patriots? What the heck is that?
That was an amazing game the other night, right? In the wind and blowing around and running the football. It reminded me. I went to the Dundalk Mervo game last week. By the way, I lost a bet to the mayor, and we didn't even really make a bet. What happened was I started talking him at the end of the first quarter when my team was winning 13-0. So I've had that game there. High school football is a red zone game. Like, you get to the 12-yard line, you can't kick a 30-yard field goal because you don't have the kid to do it. So you either go all the way in on 4 plays or you turn the ball over at the 6-yard line. It's high school football. It's been a long time since I watched, and you get so enamored with Justin Tucker and even the college guys kicking the ball 40, 50 yards, no problem. High school's a different game. That game on Monday night felt like that same kind of game. It was, and Belichick wearing the Navy mask and all that,
I wonder why the high school teams don't bring a girls soccer star over to be the place kicker just for fun. They could at least kick a field goal. My son went to Delaney. I remember every game, every kickoff was an onside kick, and every single touchdown followed by a 2-point conversion. I think they kicked 1 or 2 extra points the whole season. So just bring a girl over from the soccer team. Let her be your place kicker for field goals. I mean, come on.
Well, I remember Gus the Kicking Mule. Do you remember Gus the Kicking Mule?
Oh, jeez.
And do you remember when Tony Danza played the kicker from the Eagles? Remember, kicking the field goals and all that. So,
hey, there's a new movie out. Speaking of, there's a new. Let's go back to where were we before that? We were Monday night football with the Patriots. Just for a second, do you watch? Or if you're watching Monday night, are you watching the regular broadcast or the Peyton Manning broadcast?
I'll be honest with you. I missed the first Manning cast. Everybody talked about it. Then I maybe missed this. The first one was the Ravens game. I was at the game.
Sure,
I was in Vegas, right?
Sure.
So I heard the buzz and I put it on, and I have watched every one of them in the first quarter, because I just fall asleep usually, right? Like I'm a 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. sleeper. Like, I'm up at 3 in the morning every day of my life, but I'm in bed by 10 o'clock usually. Sometimes with the Ravens or whatever, I'll stay up, I'll get a nap, I'll tough it out. But I tend to fall asleep on the Manning brothers in the second quarter. Sometimes wake up at halftime, but I've never watched the whole game with them.
They're hysterical.
The other night, I didn't know they were on. A lot of times they show up on my app, and I see the little. Right. They have the little locker room writing of the 4 quarters, and I see, and it's cool. They have a really cool brand, and I love them. But I was watching the game, and I got halfway through the first quarter before I realized they were on, and then I was kind of like. I had watched Susie, who I love, and Steve Young, and Randy Moss, who's annoying as hell. But I like Steve Levy, and I think I did a hockey game with Steve.
I think the Monday night team is fantastic, and I am shocked, quite frankly, that ESPN decided to water that down with the Manning brothers on their own network. I mean, my God, they're competing with themselves. I guess you get more eyes because some people love the Manning broadcast, but I really like Steve Levy. I really like the rest of the team. I think Gracie's okay, but what's his name? Riddick. I think he's fantastic.
I heard the Manning brothers with Bill Parcells, and Bill did my show a lot, right? So I don't know if you knew this or not. It's my 30th anniversary this week, by the way, and you're invited to Costas next Wednesday if you want to come out for a crab cake and hang out. I'd love to see you, but everybody's invited. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Let yourself play, so come on out. That's Wednesday the 15th in Costas. God, I lost my train of thought.
Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells. So Parcells used to do my show every week on Sporting News Radio, and again, I didn't know Bill, right? So Bill's calling in and knew me, Nestor, you know my name, and and he was just off the field. So he's a genius. It's 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Belichick's not a genius. Belichick just benched Drew Bledsoe. It was literally that year. It was 2001.
Right.
So Bill did the show. I'm going to be honest, 20 times I had Bill Parcells on the show for 12 minutes or, whatever the segment was. And so talking to Bill, and I had the year before was Pete Carroll. Sporting News hired a coach to be on my show every week, right? Sure. So I had a year of Pete Carroll, who I finally met in Indianapolis in like 2018. I had never met him, and when I introduced myself, he was like, "Oh my God, I used to talk to you every week. I never met you." So Parcells, I still like. I don't know him, but talking to him and having him on the radio and getting answers out of him, I always found him to be really insightful. Like at that point, he was sort of like competing with Mike Ditka for being a loudmouth and saying not controversial things, but saying very frank things, right? When he was on with the Manning brothers, he was unbelievable. Way better than he ever was sitting on TV before the games or whatever.
He's been around a while.
And it reminded me that when he was on my show, I always thought like, Bill doesn't give a rat's. He's just telling me what he feels, you know? And he felt like that. So I did see them with him and felt like it was good. But here's the tell on Monday. I felt like the game was interesting enough with the wind blowing, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like I was into the broadcast was so good with Levy and those guys that I felt like I couldn't turn it off. So that's a real tribute to them. And by the way,
absolutely.
I didn't go to the game Sunday night. It's the first game in Pittsburgh I've missed in 20 years, right? My back was screwed up.
Yep.
I got to watch it on TV. Watching a game with Tony Romo is better than watching a game with anyone I've ever. Brad Jackson sat with me for a season in the press box. Brad's like, I love Brad, and Brad was great to sit and watch football with. Watching football with Tony Romo is, I almost want to stay home to do it. And that's I've never said that in 30 years of radio. I didn't feel that way about Madden or Chris Collinsworth or. Boy, he's really, really good, man.
He got paid too. He's making a ton of money. He's the top paid analyst talker, and he's phenomenal. I think if he was half as good a quarterback as he is an analyst, he'd have won 10 Super Bowls. The guy is really smart. He knows what's going on. He tells you what they should be looking for in the replays immediately after the play. He tells you where Lamar should have thrown the ball, why he didn't throw the ball. The guy is really good in the booth. There's no question about it. And they just do a good job. I mean, I think they were a little in the tank for Pittsburgh. It's kind of weird that they sounded like they're rooting for Pittsburgh, but at the same time, he's good. He's really good at the games.
Well, it's weird for me to not be there, right? And when I'm home, I'm wondering when an injury happens or, like, obviously the Humphrey thing, there's no locker room to go into anymore to do the job that I'm really trained to do, which is get the truth, not have to coach.
You can only be there for the press conference. That's it. You don't get to go in the.
Yeah, and we don't pick who comes in. Whoever feels like coming in.
Question.
I would have a lot of questions for Chris Westry at his locker. I would have questions for what happened on plays. I would have answers for fans. Leonard, that's for another – dude, if you want to sit with me at Costas next week and really talk about my job and how it's changed and how on a Sunday Tony Romo can somehow make it better that I didn't go – like literally maybe see things that I would not have seen through the glass that I've sat at eating Mr. Rooney's cookies all these years. That there is a point in that where
no, they're really good. They're really good. I tell you, I'm curious something. You may know the answer to this, you may not. Who knows? The whole COVID thing. I'm watching other teams post games. How come the Ravens and Harbaugh are still wearing masks at the press conference?
Good answer for that. It's about the municipality and wearing a mask. And as media members, every game
Pittsburgh wasn't wearing them. Up in Pittsburgh, Tomlin didn't have a mask on at the post-game press conference, but Harbaugh and all the Ravens did.
Harbaugh has in Baltimore because we have a mask mandate. So I remember the first week Harbaugh saying to Chad Steele, hey, that's right, it's a law here, I got it, and put it on. I don't think Lamar's vaccinated. Like, I don't believe him to be. By the way, Lamar got pinned down by Rolling Stone last week. It was not made famous here. Did you see the Lamar interview in Rolling Stone?
I did not.
Please go check it out because, like, I don't have access to Lamar. I don't get to ask him questions, right? Like, the only access I get is after a game, and if you ask him, why'd you carry the ball 21 times, he scoffs, right? So, and I don't have a relationship with him This is all over with, right? I had that relationship with Elvis Gerbach, Tony Banks, Scott Mitchell, Stoney. They're all on my phone. Joe Flacco. These people, they were Matt Cavanaugh, who was the offensive coordinator. Like, that is over with forever, I believe, and it's a real detriment to Leonard Raskin, the fan, the season ticket holder, the PSL guy, the guy that wants to know what happened on a play. And there's no access. Well, I mean, they're using COVID as a reason.
An excuse. Yeah.
So the players are out this week at Wise Markets, by the way, taking pictures with fans, but I don't have any access to. I've never met Devin Duvernay. Like, literally, I have no access to. So I'm about to get pissy about it because it's wrong. It's wrong, and mask, vaccination, whatever. They're not allowing Jeff Zrebeck and Jamison Hensley and Luke Jones and myself and others to do our jobs. And more than that, what the post games become is a Putin-esque staged fake press conference where employees like Garrett Downing and Ryan Mink, who I like immensely, but they are employees of the team, and they don't kowtow to John. They're under his thumb. They are absolutely mandated about what they can and can't say, will or will not believe, and can and cannot reveal. And that goes from Chad Steele all the way through. So we're at a different place right now when you ask me, how did they lose and why did they lose? Even if I had gone to Pittsburgh and my back hurt like hell, which Luke did and I paid Luke to go, what you see is what you got. They gave you 4 players, 5 players, and that's it. Yeah. And that's all there will be. And there's no locker room Wednesday, no locker room Thursday, no locker room Friday. And when Rolling Stone gets a hold of Lamar for 8 minutes and asks him about vaccination and asks him about social issues and asks him about his blackness and asks him about his buddies who've been in jail who've gotten out because Trump let him out, he's no speaky on any of that. It's a game week, right? So now Lamar's a superstar and he's going to get $300 million, but he's also... He's got quite a cult following here in Baltimore, right? And
how much do you think he's going to get? How much do you think he's going to get when we're minus 10 turnovers and they're all his?
Look, listen, I'm just saying the questions get heavier than can you read a defense when you wear an 8 and you're the first of your kind, of any kind, to be that kind of quarterback. You're African American. You're young. You're slinging it. You're an MVP. You're on, like, all of that. If you think Rolling Stone isn't going to ask you about your politics, then you're And if you don't have an answer that's better than my HIPAA violations in the middle of a plague, then you're not going to want to come and sit at Pappas with Nestor and sit down and talk about the world. And he better be prepared to do that if they're going to give him $300 million, because that's the way the real world works.
That's the way. That's what comes with that kind of money. I mean, I'm shocked, quite frankly. The guy could own this town. He almost owns this town, but he could own this town with a little PR.
He's a great kid. He's a great kid. He is.
Yeah, but I mean, look at you can't turn on the TV and watch a sports event, anything, without seeing Mahomes out there. The guy got $500 million. He's probably got another $500 million from State Farm. I mean, he's on every commercial. He's everywhere. And
Baker Mayfield's everywhere.
Everywhere. That guy's annoying as hell. Those Geico commercials, I want to punch him in the face half the time. But he's getting paid. He's getting paid. I mean, Lamar could be out there everywhere. I just don't. I mean, I guess when you play for $1 million or whatever he's playing for this year, it's great. But he better start slinging that ball to the right people if he wants that $300-400 million coming.
Leonard Raskin is here. He'll be watching the Ravens this week, next week, the week after that, the week after that. He'll be optimistic, and he will give you investments as well as some great advice on money and the end of the year. Hey, I hope to see you, Costas, and if I don't, we'll talk about end-of-year money next week because I know we were going to talk about that.
Absolutely.
But it was great seeing you, Pappas. Get some leftovers and join us over at Costas next week. Come to my side of town for the anniversary, Len.
You got it. Absolutely.
Leonard Raskin joining us here. I will have the shirt on next week. The truth is I slept in it the other day and wrinkled it all. I really did. Like, swear to God. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570. Towson, Baltimore, letting our hair down, and all things Baltimore positive for the holidays.